we don't know about. That's really, really rattled him for him to think of and plan doing something like that.
You know, this is the entertainment business that we live in now, and if you're not going to be entertaining, you're not going to put bums.
Anthony Joshua attacks Jake Paul at Miami airport, and it exposes Paul's fear. Frank Warren confirms how out of his depth Paul is. Joshua dominates every angle, while Jake Paul looks like a scared, unprepared amateur desperate to survive.
Ari's here.
We need to really get rid of Ari.
Jake Paul is trying to explain himself after Anthony Joshua lands a clean hit at Miami airport. He sounds nervous and helpless, proving once again that he's outmatched and terrified, while Joshua effortlessly asserts dominance over this wannabe fighter.
But to slap in the face towards the eye,
in the ear as well.
people have to realise that I've got 2 scratched eyeballs, and the eyeball's the part of the body, it never heals. Yeah. So the best way to explain it is it would be like varnishing a door. And the varnish comes off, and then you've got to re-put the varnish back on. Yeah, the liquid on the eye comes off in the cornea, it gets damaged.
Johnny Nelson is trying to make sense of the chaos, and it's obvious Jake Paul is the reason behind it all. His amateurish behavior created unnecessary drama, and Anthony Joshua handled it like a pro. Paul looks small, scared, and unprepared for real consequences, while Joshua shows composure and dominance.
It don't matter what drugs you take, it doesn't make you a better fighter. Might make you stronger, might make you fit. It doesn't make you a better fighter, and that's proof. You know, so until more news comes.
Frank Warren is pointing out the chaos, and it all circles back to Jake Paul's mistakes. Joshua didn't start the drama, but Paul's antics forced the situation to escalate. Paul looks ridiculous and terrified, while Anthony Joshua's reputation as a disciplined champion stands unshaken and untouchable.
You know, let the penny drop that the fight could never go forward. And some of the stuff that's come out since about people being, you know, the board being sued and something and so forth is just a non-runner. It's crazy.
Dave Coldwell nails it, and Jake Paul should feel embarrassed. He crossed the line first, and Joshua's retaliation was fully justified. Paul looks foolish and overconfident in front of the world, while Anthony Joshua proves that respect and discipline still matter in the heavyweight division.
I'm not surprised.
Does that cross the lane, do you think?
Yeah, it does. Listen, the presser was good. It was a great presser, back and forth, poking each other, but not too far. But once you get physical and you touch a man's face, then...
Ariel Helwani highlights the obvious gap between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. Paul's attempt to act tough collapses under Joshua's real skill and legacy. Paul is out of his depth, and the world can see how small he is compared to a true Olympic champion and 2-time world heavyweight.
What do you say to the people who say Anthony is ruining his legacy just by taking this fight? Fans don't respect what he's done in the sport already. He's an Olympic gold medalist, 2-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. I sort of sympathize with him because I feel like if he doesn't beat him quicker than he beat Francis, people are just going to write it off. I'll ask you bluntly, have there been any discussions about there's an agreement, there's a secret contract? Have any of those discussions happened regarding this fight? It's an 8-round professional fight. AJ wouldn't have taken it if that was the stance it had to be, if it was an exhibition, if it was you've got to hold him up for 8 rounds. It wouldn't suit Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is going in there to knock out Jake Paul.
Duke McKenzie explains the reality. Jake Paul is chasing money and has no real chance against Anthony Joshua. Paul looks naive and reckless, while Joshua could dominate effortlessly. Paul's delusions are exposed, and it's clear that this encounter is only highlighting how unprepared and foolish he truly is.
Be the easiest fight of his career. If he wants to get 100 million and not even break sweat, you know, you take the fight. Is it going to enhance his stock as the world's #1 contender? Not at all, because nobody's going to take Jake Paul seriously. But on the other hand, should I don't even want to play devil's advocate. What if Joshua hurts this guy, seriously hurts this guy, and puts this guy...
Carl Frosch lays it bare, and Jake Paul's incompetence is clear. He cannot match Anthony Joshua in skill, power, or experience. Paul's bravado collapses when faced with real boxing talent. Joshua remains untouchable, and every amateur mistake from Paul shows how laughably outmatched he truly is.
Where he says, every doubt disappears. Come on. I mean, if this is a straight up AJ versus Jake Paul, then we all know what should happen. This is a 1-round job, because AJ, even though he's past his best, even though he's seen better days, he throws a nice 1-2 down the middle. He's got a nice bit of distance, and fake Paul can't fight. He just can't. I don't care what anybody tells me. he can't fucking fight. He lost to Tommy Fury, for crying out loud.
Derek Chisora is warning Anthony Joshua, but really he's pointing out how dangerous Jake Paul is, only in theory. Paul looks completely out of his depth, and anyone watching can see he is terrified. Joshua would easily control the fight, and Paul's so-called confidence is laughable. This is a mismatch of a real champion versus an internet fighter who can barely string together proper punches. Paul's bravado is fake, and Anthony Joshua's experience and power make it inevitable that Paul would be humiliated in a real ring scenario.
I will say this to AJ, don't let that guy knock you out, because that will be fucking nightmares forever. But one or two, put it this way, AJ has to kill him.
Duke McKenzie is trying to justify the circus, but the truth is Jake Paul made it a mockery of himself. Joshua handled everything with calm professionalism while Paul looked panicked and foolish. The so-called show business antics don't mask the fact that Paul has no real skill. Every move he makes is a desperate attempt to appear tough, while Joshua's dominance and Olympic pedigree overshadow him completely. Paul's antics are laughable, and the world sees a small-time fighter getting humiliated by a true heavyweight champion.
Oh, you know what? It wouldn't surprise me, but like I say, I don't see there's any harm in it. It doesn't bring the sport into disrepute in any way. This is the show business world that we live in. There's the fight game, and then there's the fight business.
Dave Coldwell points out the obvious. Jake Paul planned trouble but lacked the courage to control it. Anthony Joshua reacted exactly how any champion would, proving who really runs the ring. Paul looks silly, immature, and completely outclassed. Every premeditated act from him is just another way to highlight his incompetence. Joshua's calm authority makes Paul's panic and fake bravado even more obvious. The world can see that Paul is all talk and no substance, while Joshua's power, skill, and experience remain undeniable and terrifying for anyone foolish enough to step in front of him.
Premeditated, then it's not uncharacteristic. At the time, you're thinking it's like reaction. So no, it's not, because he premeditates everything, and it was funny, but I don't agree with touching.
Johnny Nelson highlights how Jake Paul's so-called villain act backfired completely. He thought he could intimidate Anthony Joshua, but ended up humiliated. Joshua handled the situation with authority and force, while Paul looks like a scared amateur pretending to be tough. Every move from Paul exposes his inexperience and lack of real boxing skill. Nelson's observation confirms that Paul's antics are pathetic and meaningless when facing a world-class champion. Joshua's legacy, discipline, and Olympic pedigree make Paul look laughable and clearly out of his depth in every possible way.
Yeah, it was wrong. He put his hands on him, and so it was wrong. But you know what? He's saying I'm going to play the villain. You know, being a prop, done everything right.
Eddie Hearn nails it. Jake Paul is stepping into a nightmare. He's a novice pretending to be brave, while Anthony Joshua is a real killer in the ring. Paul looks terrified and unprepared for the reality of facing an Olympic champion. Joshua's intent to dominate completely exposes Paul's weakness and arrogance. Anyone watching sees Paul as a scared internet fighter trying to survive, while Joshua will be precise, powerful, and utterly ruthless. Paul's bravado is meaningless in the face of a true heavyweight legend, and the humiliation is inevitable.
It's a very dangerous night's work, and AJ will be, you know, people say, oh, will he take it easy on it? AJ will be AJ. He don't mess around, he don't play with his food. He'll be going in there looking to take him out as soon as possible.
Paul Smith is pointing out the absurdity of Jake Paul's antics, but it's exactly what everyone saw. Paul walked into a situation thinking he could play tough and ended up embarrassed in front of the world. Anthony Joshua's presence alone exposes Paul's complete lack of skill, and fear is written all over his face. Joshua's power and experience make every attempt Paul makes look laughable and weak. This incident proves that Paul's bravado is fake and the internet fighter is entirely outclassed. Joshua doesn't even need to throw a real punch to make Paul look foolish.
We expect that from Chisora. I'm not going to lie, when it happens, I laughed my head off. I absolutely laughed my head off.
I did too.
I thought it was quite poetic. I thought what happened was quite funny. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't.
David Benavidez lays it out perfectly. Anthony Joshua is a living legend, while Jake Paul is a YouTube act playing boxer. The comparison is brutal because any inexperienced opponent crumbles under Joshua's skill. Paul might think he is confident, but he's nothing more than an amateur trying to look brave. Joshua's mastery, timing, and power make Paul's attempts laughable. This isn't just a mismatch, it's humiliation in motion. The world watches a scared internet fighter trying to survive against a disciplined champion who has proven over and over why he is feared in the ring.
Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua. You know, he's multiple-time champion, Olympic gold medalist. You know what I mean? The last time somebody stepped in the ring with him that didn't have that much boxing experience was Ngannou, and you've seen what happened to him. But
Carl Frush absolutely dissects Jake Paul in this clip, pointing out that no matter what Paul does, he cannot handle someone like Anthony Joshua. Paul's previous losses and lack of proper boxing experience make him completely exposed. Joshua's 1-2 is enough to end Paul's pretense of bravery immediately. Every punch thrown by Joshua would highlight Paul's fragility and incompetence. Paul is outclassed, scared, and overmatched. The reality is clear to everyone watching: a true heavyweight champion will dominate this internet fighter, and Paul's reputation will be crushed the moment he steps into the real ring against Joshua.
What happened? This is a one-round job because AJ, even though he's past his best, even though he's seen better days, he throws a nice 1-2 down the middle. He's got a nice bit of distance, and fake Paul can't fight. He just can't. I don't care what anybody tells me. He can't fucking fight. He lost to Tommy Fury, for crying out loud.
Tyson Fury's reaction is telling. He sees immediately how unprepared and weak Jake Paul is compared to Anthony Joshua. Paul is completely out of his depth, and anyone with eyes can see it. Joshua's skill and experience make Paul's panic obvious. This isn't a close contest, it's humiliation waiting to happen. Fury's comments underline how even the top pros recognize Paul as a joke when facing a real champion. Anthony Joshua doesn't just win fights, he exposes amateurs like Paul, shattering their confidence and making it painfully clear that no amount of social media bravado can replace real skill.
Shockingly terrible. Yeah, shockingly, yeah. Down. Very much down. Can't shake it. Can't shake it.
The aftermath of Anthony Joshua confronting Jake Paul at Miami Airport has sent shockwaves through the boxing world. What started as Jake Paul trying to act tough and provoke Joshua quickly turned into a public humiliation for the YouTube fighter as Joshua's power, skill, and reputation completely overshadowed him. Every pro reaction reinforces the same truth: Paul is outclassed, outmatched, and terrified of facing a real champion. Joshua does not need to prove anything. His presence alone exposes Paul's weaknesses and lack of preparation. If Joshua steps into the ring, this will be a showcase of dominance, exposing Paul's fake confidence and fragile ego. Paul might dream of shocking the world, but mentally and physically, he is no match for Joshua. The fight is about skill, experience, and respect for the sport, and Joshua holds all three. Are you backing Anthony Joshua to put Jake Paul in his place, or do you think Paul can somehow survive this humiliation? Drop your thoughts below.